Hello Blackbirds, here I am ready to read chapter 2 to you, The Cat Mummy. Chapter 2, Where's Mabel? When I got home from school, I ran into the hall and stepped straight into this little mess of cat sick. Yuck! I was wearing open-toed sandals, which made it a lot worse. I hopped around going yuck, 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 and Gran sighed and hurried me into the kitchen and got out a bowl of water and a cloth and some disinfectant. Mabel was dithering at the end of the hall, hanging her head. Honestly, Mabel, why do you have to throw up right when I'm going to walk in it? What have you been eating, you naughty cat? You're disgusting. Mabel drooped and slunk away. Yes, you jolly well should be ashamed of yourself, I said. Oh, don't be too hard on Mabel, Verity, said Gran. I don't think she's very well. That's the second time she's been sick, and she's had a little accident too. Oh, Mabel's always having little accidents, I said. She's so lazy, she doesn't amble over to her little tray in time. Mabel isn't getting any younger, you know, said Gran. You're not getting any younger, Gran, but you don't sick up your food and do little wheeze all over the place, I said, giggling. You cheeky little baggage, said Gran, pretending to give me a smack on the bottom. She laughed, and she still looked a bit worried. My tummy clenched. Gran, there's nothing seriously wrong with Mabel, is there? I asked. She has just got a little tummy upset, hasn't she? Gran hesitated. I hope so. I think she's just getting older, dear, just like I said. Maybe we should take her to the vets. I'm not sure there's much they can do for her. My tummy clenched tighter. But she will be all right, won't she, Gran? I said, she's not going to die or anything. I felt myself blushing as I'd said a really rude word. We hardly ever say words like die or death in my family. Wow, said Gran, swallowing. We've all got to pass away sometime. But not for ages and ages. Mabel isn't going to die soon, is she? Gran didn't answer properly. She just wriggled her shoulders. Shall I make some of special homemade lemonade? And then maybe you'd like to watch television. Gran only makes her lemonade on special days. And she usually nags me not to watch television. She likes me to read a book, or draw a picture, or play in the garden. I start to feel a bit panicky. Gran seemed to think that Mabel might be going to die soon. It sounds silly, but I never ever thought about Mabel dying. I knew she was old, but I sort of assumed that she'd stagger on forever on soft spreading paws. I was starting to feel really, really mean for scolding poor Mabel. I wanted to give her a big hug and say I'm sorry. Back in a minute, Gran, I said, and I went charging upstairs to my bedroom, Mabel's usual lurking spot. My bed was empty. Wow, Minnie Mouse was lying there with Yellow Hill sticking up at an angle, but there's no Mabel. Where's Mabel? I said, tossing Minnie onto the floor. I looked underneath my bed. Mabel might be really embarrassed about being sick on the hall carpet. She'd hidden underneath my bed in the past. She wasn't there now. Mabel, I called. Where are you, Mabel? I looked all around my bedroom. I searched through the toys and clothes on the carpet. I looked on the windowsill, behind the curtain. There was no sign of her anywhere. I went to look in Gran and Grandad's bedroom, though Gran always kept their door shut to stop Mabel exploring. Mabel had long ago learnt the knack of nudging it sharply with her hip so that the catch sprung open. I looked on the bed, the rug, the rocking chair, even under the dressing table. I looked in the bathroom, although Mabel detests water and shrieks if I splash her when she noses in when I'm having a bath. I went charging downstairs and into the kitchen. Gran was stirring her lemonade. Gran, I can't find Mabel. She's not on your bed. Though I must say it's not a very hygienic habit, especially if Mabel's poorly. You don't want her being sick on your bed now, do we? I wanted Mabel so badly, I wouldn't have cared. Where is she, Gran? What about the living room? One of Mabel's favourite snoozing places is in the rug in front of the fire. The fire isn't on during the summer, but Mabel doesn't seem to notice. She lies there as if she's toasting herself, first lying on one side and then on the other. A little yawn and a stretch, settling down to give the other side a turn. I sometimes sit on the chair by the fire and gently rest my bare feet on Mabel's back. She feels like my big furry slipper. But she wasn't on the rug, though there were cat hairs in Mabel's shape to show she had a little lie down since Gran had vacuumed this morning. Mabel wasn't in the chairs or on the sofa or under the table. She wasn't anywhere at all. Gran, I can't find her. Mabel, Gran called. Puss, 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 puss. Come on, old lady, me Mabel, Mabel. Mabel didn't come. I wonder if she's in the garden, said Gran. Here's your lemonade anyway, Verity, and a chocky Bicky. Gran is the loveliest Gran ever, but like all Grans, she often treats me like a baby. Chocolate Bicky? That's the way you talk to really little kids. I ate the chocolate biscuit in 2 bites, drained the lemonade in the glass and then dashed off to search the garden for Mabel. She can get out from a cat flap in the back door, but recently she stayed indoors. She had a worrying encounter with another cat who pounced on her. It was the big ginger Tom from up the road. He didn't really do her any harm and I managed to chase him away, but Mabel went all quivery afterwards. She hadn't set one paw in the garden since. I still searched it high and low. Grandad searched it too when he came home. Then he said he'd have a look all around the streets for her. I want to go with you, Grandad, I said. Gran and Grandad didn't think this is a good idea. They wouldn't say why at first, and I pestered them. Well, something sad might have happened to Mabel, darling, Gran said eventually. We wouldn't want you to see and be upset. What sort of thing? I asked, though I did know. Mabel might have been run over, dear. She's getting very old and slow, and I don't think she can see too well either, said Gran. But I need to help Grandad look for her. What if she has been hurt? I can't stand thinking of Mabel in pain, all lost and frightened. Grandad would do his best to find her, Verity, said Gran. But Grandad came back shaking his head. There was still no sign of Mabel anywhere. I want her so much, I said, and I started to cry. This time I was glad Gran treats me like a baby. She sat me on her lap and she rocked me, and Grandad read me a story. I stopped crying, but it didn't stop me aching for Mabel. I was still wide awake when Dad came home from work. He put his head around my bedroom door and then he sat on my bed for a while I had another good cry. What's happened to Mabel, Dad? She can't have disappeared. She never goes wandering off, not far anyway. She isn't anywhere, and I've searched and I've searched. I know, Pet. Look, we'll write out a notice about Mabel being missing. I'll do lots of copies on my computer and we'll pin them up all over our neighbourhood. And will we get her back then? I hope so, darling. Do you promise? Dad hesitated. You know I can't promise, Verity. I want Mabel so much, Dad. I haven't been very nice to her recently. I moaned at her for being so sleepy, and yet I know she can't help it. I'd give anything to have her sleeping here on my bed right now. I know, love. I keep thinking about her. She's maybe crying too. Dad stayed with me for ages, trying to calm me down. I think I went to sleep for a bit, but then I woke up alone in the dark and I felt for Mabel, and she wasn't there. I hugged Minnie Mouse instead. She wasn't the same. Nothing could ever replace Mabel. I wished I could hold her in my arms and tell her just how much she meant to me.